I've always maintained that we always have the advantage over the odds makers the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, no matter the sport. But let's be smart about this. Week number 2 of the college football season. Line makers saw the first week of action just like we did. They are starting to compensate. They are starting to adjust the lines. So you have to be cautious. You have to be leery, especially for some teams and some games. And there are particular situations that you should be aware of. And those are these. Games and teams that didn't show up in week number 1 where so much more is expected of them in week number 2. I'll give you a couple of examples. Michigan, no-show in week number 1. Texas, no-show in week number 1. So much more is expected of them here today, right? Well, you're being asked to pay a heavier price. So, for example, the Wolverines, everybody expects them to crush Western Michigan today. Would I bet them? Absolutely not. But would you bet them either? Line opened at 24.5. It was already inflated. It's even more inflated now at 28.5. Look at Texas losing for a second straight year in its opener to Maryland. Well, now you're being asked to pay an even heavier price today against Tulsa at home. Then you have teams that played and exceeded expectations in week number 1. Appalachian State. Shoulda, coulda, beaten Penn State last week at Beaver Stadium in Happy Valley. Well, now you have App State in a classic letdown situation, but because they played so well last week, they're being asked to lay 14.5 points at Charlotte. Now, they are clearly better than 2 touchdowns against Charlotte, but that line has been inflated because of how well they played against Penn State. Same thing with the Mississippi State-Kansas State game. Listen, Mississippi State looked like world beaters without their starting quarterback last week in their opener and their new head coach's debut. Meanwhile, Bill Snyder's Kansas State Wildcats were lucky to win in week number 1. Is Mississippi State really deserving to be 7 points better? You're paying an inflated price based on week 1 performances for both teams. You're paying based on perception. It's not necessarily based on reality. Arizona, last week, 14.5 point favorite at home in Tucson in Kevin Sumlin's debut. They lose outright to BYU. Now suddenly, Arizona, in a must-win situation, is a 3.5 point dog at Houston, a Houston team that struggled for mainly 3 quarters against Rice, a Rice team that barely beat Prairie View A&M the week prior. So these are a couple of situations. Here's another one for you. The Colorado State game today against Arkansas. Colorado State opened at 11.5 point underdog at home, now 14 points at home against Arkansas. Colorado State is no good, granted, okay? But Arkansas is a better team, but is Arkansas 14 points better? No, but there's no line value there in betting the Razorbacks because Colorado State is getting a boatload of points because Colorado State no-showed at home against Hawaii in its opener, got blown out at Denver against Colorado, so everybody has jumped off the bandwagon and has inflated that price. So although Colorado State is no good, how would you ever be interested in laying 14 points with the Razorbacks who you really don't know anything about? So these are some of the things that you have to look at in week number 2. And again, it's overcompensation based on 1 week's perception, and that's dangerous. It doesn't happen for every game, but these are the things that you always have to be aware of when you're looking at the card. Same thing will happen going into week number 2 in the NFL. Generally speaking, and we'll talk more about it in Sunday's video report, week number 1 in the NFL, you'll see the favorites generally ruling the roost. But the dogs will come barking back big time in weeks 2 and 3. But that's another day, another story. Listen, the big story here today, there are 2 of them here at the site. Today, the final big promotion of the year in terms of the discount that you will get off your total purchase price. 27% off your total purchase price. This will be the biggest single discount for the remainder of the football season, college or pro. It goes today. 27%, 27PERCENT. It's a mix and match coupon, good for any combination of picks and or packages. If you're already in the midst of a package, you want to extend it out further, you can do so. If you have an instant rebate, that is applicable as well. 27% off your total purchase price. If you have any questions, you can always contact customer service. In terms of who the hot handicapper here is at the site, let me think for a minute. Oh, that would be me. I won again last night, following up the 15-dime winner I had on Thursday night with the Eagles with another raise the bar 20-dime play in baseball, cashing in with Tampa Bay. I said it was an undervalued favorite, 120 on the run line, and the raise behind Blake Snell, 114-2 over a bad Baltimore team. So today I go back with my normal top-rated 15-dime winner, number 10 out of 12, double-digit destroyer of the month that goes on the early card. I think this team wins by 35 or more, just like the Eagles, a 15-dime winner. You get it for half price by using the coupon code HALF, HALF, as I go for winning day number 46 out of 70. The other hot handicapper here would be Chris Jordan, who has already gone 3-1 with his top-rated 1,000 star plays this college football season. His another one, 4 out of 5 goes tonight. Michigan State and Arizona State. 10:45 Eastern Time kickoff as he goes for winning day number 10 out of 12. Keep in mind, with 1,000 star plays or better over the past, going back to 2006, 12 years here, he has made $1 bettors a little over $169,000. Hell, with all rated plays, he's made $1 bettors a little over $52,000 the past 21 and a half months. You get it for over half price off by using coupon code Chris. All the other discounts and promos are over on the homepage. Let's get to your complimentary plays here for today's card. Let's talk about one of the games I mentioned earlier, Texas and Tulsa. Tom Herman, oh, you're on the hot seat, baby. You can lose to Maryland last year in your opener and then beat San Jose State in your next game, 56-0, and then muddle through a disappointing season. But you lose to Maryland again, year number 2. Well, the Longhorn faithful are not going to be happy if you don't ring up a big convincing victory against Tulsa today in your home opener. And I think Texas will. Texas, a 23-24 point favorite. Why the hell not? The Golden Hurricanes struggled to beat a Division 1A, AA member FCS Central Arkansas at home last week, 38-27, a game that they trailed in the fourth quarter. Tulsa was a 128th ranked team in Division 1 ball last year in terms of total defense. I think Texas will dominate. Let's put it this way. Texas better dominate here. Or, again, Tom Herman will find himself in Charlie Strong territory very soon for the Austin faithful. So I like Texas in this game. I like Baylor in revenge against Texas San Antonio. Remember last year when everything was going wrong for the Baylor program and Matt Rule's first season, Texas San Antonio came into Waco. They pulled the upset as a 13.5 point underdog, winning outright 17-10. Well, different season. Baylor's program has gotten a little stability. Listen, I think Matt Rule's the right guy to turn this program around after the Art Briles fiasco. Yes, it's going to take a couple of years because of scholarship reductions, because of all the transfers, etc. But this guy did wonders at Temple. He'll do a great job at Baylor. Baylor opened its season with a 55-27 victory over Abilene Christian. Okay, Abilene Christian, nothing to brag about, right? But they've got 2 quarterbacks, Charles Brewer and Jalen McClendon. McClendon took over for Brewer, who left that game against Abilene Christian with a back injury. McClendon's and North Carolina State transfer, 10 for 13 in that victory. But more importantly, the Bears ran for 295 yards. You know, when they were having their greatest success in the Briles, they were a team that not only threw the ball well, but they ran the ball well. They ran for 295 yards. Both their running backs, Hasty and Lovett, had over 100 yards each. I think that is the key in that game. The other key for Baylor in that game is to tighten up the screws a little bit defensively because they allowed 220 yards on the ground. But listen, Texas San Antonio got pulverized at Arizona State, 49-7. They allowed 266 yards rushing to the Sun Devils. That's 7.4 yards per carry. If you look at the box score, they netted just 3 yards rushing. They allowed 10 sacks in this game. Even though this one is at the Alamo Dome, I do like Baylor laying the 17 points in this game. In SEC action, I like South Carolina plus the 10 at home against Georgia. Do I think South Carolina can win this game? No. Do I think Will Muschamp is a good coach? No. but I do like South Carolina to keep this one close enough for the cover. South Carolina opened with an easy win against Coastal Carolina, 49-15 at home. Listen, the bottom line here is this. South Carolina was 7-1 against the spread as a dog last season. They have most of their team back, especially offensively, with quarterback Jake Bentley, who opened the season 22 for 29 for 250 yards and 4 touchdowns against the Chants last week. They've got, as I said, most of their playmakers back offensively. Meanwhile, Georgia had that great running tandem last year, so even though they've got their quarterback back, they've lost a lot of talent, especially defensively, where they only have 4 starters back on Kirby Smart's side of the ball. I think that South Carolina plus the points is a damn good play in that particular contest. Your final game, I talked about Mississippi State and Kansas State. I have never been impressed with Kansas State in the past couple of years. This is a Kansas State team that only managed to escape with a 27-24 win over South Dakota last week at home as a 24-point favorite, 13 penalties, 4 turnovers. Bill Snyder going with a 2-quarterback system with Alex Denton and Skylar Thompson sharing the duties. Last week against South Dakota, they combined to go 13 for 28, 152 yards and 2 interceptions versus just 1 touchdown. Meanwhile, Mississippi State under Joe Moorhead, the ex-Penn State offensive coordinator, just destroyed Stephen F. Austin 62-6. They should destroy Stephen F. Austin 62-6, but they did so without Nick Fitzgerald, who returns from a 1-game suspension today. Mississippi State is a 7-point favorite in this game. I'd be willing to lay the 7 points with Mississippi State because I don't believe Kansas State is that good. Of these selections today, which ones do I like the most? Well, believe it or not, I like Texas because I think Texas needs to blow out, and I like South Carolina plus the points to keep it close against Georgia. Tier number 2 would be Baylor, and then tier number 3 would be the pick on Mississippi State. That'll do it for today. I wish you well, and talk to you again tomorrow when we get the NFL season underway.